Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video in the morning. These videos come in the evening, MCQ lessons they come. Both the lessons you need to follow religiously, and 18th of October it is. Important facts, articles, everything we discuss here. And let's start the lesson. 3 important faculties and the paid platform. Available at just 159 rupees per month, and extremely important video courses, and these current affair videos are available, and from the exam point of view these are highly workable things, so totally affordable and no problem with that. Thousands of students are following these videos and the limited numbers will be there, so go and join them, and any problem if you find there, then you can call on those numbers. Pocket News app is trending on Google Play, and one more updation of the app is gonna come very soon. And regarding these courses and other courses, you can call on these numbers here, and regarding any of the payment query you can ask here. Chat section is available, and the Telegram channel is given on this Facebook group where I upload the PDFs, and you can follow me on Instagram too. And the Diwali sale is going on from 18th of October today till 30th of October. This sale will go. It is the biggest sale till now, and these are some words that I found today. Let's start the lesson now. Britain clinches Brexit deal with European Union. You see, joining hands, and 31st October is the important date for that smooth happening. Is it going to be smooth? We do not know, because now this deal will move towards a voting in the British Parliament. So they will need a lot of votes there, and it looks like it is going to be a challenge, because Conservative Ally Democratic Unionist Party that has opposed that, and the opposition Labour Party, they are not going to support it. So how smooth it is going to be, we need to see. But European Union endorsed the deal on Thursday immediately after it was announced. As they announced that this deal is signed, and on the basis of this signing, the smooth Brexit will happen on 31st of October. So after many years, and especially after 3 years of voting regarding this issue in Britain, this is happening, and Boris Johnson has sole aim to get it passed, and how it is going to be possible, we need to see. The issue of Ireland is very important here, and there will be issues of tariffs and all. So these are technical details for their economy. We do not have anything to do with that, but certainly the important issues which are going to affect our relationship with the European Union and UK, those will surely come in the bigger articles. So next week, or maybe next to next week, these articles we will have, and we will certainly discuss this issue, because till now this issue we have not taken in much detail, because Brexit was undecided, and what was the issue, how it is going to affect the world economic growth, and what is the role there, what is the position with India there. So all these things we will discuss in much detail when these articles will come. So till now situations are hanging, so things are not much clear. And here you can see European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. He said it is the done deal, and this will be important. The headquarters for European Union are there in Brussels, the capital of Belgium, and now this voting will happen in the British Parliament. Okay, so that's important, and that's going to be a daunting task. You can see Jeremy Corbyn, the opposition leader, he says we are unhappy with this deal, and it stands, we will vote against it, although obviously we will need to see all of the last details of it. So details will be discussed for sure, and it has become the most crucial issue in Europe today. It is UK, the geographical territory is small there in comparison to the whole Europe, but the importance is too much. Okay, so that's the case, and the issue of Northern Ireland and the tariffs issue will be important here. Okay, here you can see European Union has endorsed the deal, and the approval will be needed now. Now backdoor conundrum. 2 issues. One is the backstop mechanism, and one is Good Friday Agreement. Good Friday Agreement is the basis of today's Ireland's relationship with Britain, and important agreement between the Irish land and the Britain that was signed in 1998, and this agreement was important. Next, backstop mechanism. According to that, this mechanism envisaged earlier to prevent a hard border being introduced on the island of Ireland. So this is again related to Ireland issue. So they will not ask you these details in the prelims. They may put this thing somewhere in the question, and they may ask you what is the backstop mechanism, which was in the news. So it is related to British and Ireland issue. Now the agreement which is signed, the EU deal, this agreement scraps the backstop mechanism. So are there going to be hard borders? Are there going to be additional tariffs? And how they are going to manage the situation where between European Union and Britain, the borders and the checkposts are not there. So how they are going to manage the issue of tariffs and the movement of these transport items and all, how this is going to happen, they will discuss it later. Right now the main focus is on this voting which will happen, and the Good Friday Agreement makes the basis of the present relation with Ireland for Britain. Next, TB cases see decrease in India, important for GS paper 3 and 2 also, because it is related to the policy making too, because we have a policy for not policy, but we have a strategy for ending TB by 2025, and that's a very important and daunting challenge before us. Some soothing information is here. Number of patients fell by almost 50,000 over the past year, and this is something which is mentioned in the WHO's Global Tuberculosis Report, annual report. And regarding this, they say that there were around 27.4 lakh patients in 17. In 18, 26.9 lakh patients are remaining. So 50,000 less numbers. So fortunately these numbers, they did not rise, and they subsided by 50,000 numbers. Incidence per lakh was 204 people per lakh people, and now it is 199. So there is a decrease here also. But the alarming issue is that the rifampicin resistance among new patients, because the main issue with the TB today is the multi-drug resistant TB. And why? Because the bacteria are evolving. Mycobacterium tuberculosis, this bacteria is evolving very fast, and it is becoming resistant against the antibiotics. So rifampicin is a very important antibiotic there, and a resistance is being developed here for many years now. Now these cases of resistance, they were 32% in 17, now they are at 46%. This is something alarming, and this is the medical fraternity is very much concerned with. India is a leading country there, because these were the patients in countries like India only, where they left the treatment in between due to ignorance, due to poverty, due to many other factors, due to work, due to other issues. And because of that, bacteria evolved, and now they have resistance against these antibiotics. So that's why it's a very dangerous thing. Still, it's a major infectious killer in the world. Extremely infectious this disease is. And TB is of various types: pulmonary TB, extrapulmonary TB, and glands TB, bones TB. Many types are there, and it's very typical. And when it is pulmonary TB, it is extremely infectious, because the droplets in the breathed air, they will infect any other person. So still it is claiming 4,000 lives a day. So that's a major thing. And India TB report 2019 notes that India is closest ever to covering all TB cases through the online notification system NICSHARE. NICSHARE portal was discussed in my MCQ lessons, and it's a very important one. Again, I will ask questions on that in the evening lesson, so please do attend that. And there are cases of underreporting, because 2.69 million TB cases were there in 18, but only 2.15 million were reported. So around more than half a million, they went unreported, and these people are gonna affect other people too. They are gonna infect thousands of other people, and this is going to be a problematic situation. So underreporting is seriously a menace in TB. And the issue of HIV plus TB combination, this is a very deadly combination, where HIV compromises immunity, and less immunity, more TB cases. And maximum people who are HIV infected, they die because of the TB infection in the end, and TB kills them because the immunity is totally compromised there. And many of the cases who are having TB, they are also screened for HIV test. So that's important. Next, FMCG, faster moving consumer goods, the normal everyday uses items, the paste, the soaps, the food items and all, they are FMCG items. Their growth, especially in the rural area, is worst in 7 years. This is something alarming, and as we have discussed in separate articles also, that no industry is gonna flourish if the rural demand is not spurring. If the rural demand will not be improved, there cannot be any growth, and no growth will be sustaining there in the future. So this is a need of the hour that we do something about the rural demand, because maximum population is living in rural India and they are having no disposable income at all. They are thinking 10 times even before buying a 5 rupee Parle-G biscuit packet. So that's why it's a really dangerous thing. Maybe the government is in a total denial mode and they are all in a celebratory mode of many issues, and still they say that India is the best destination, and the crisis, it is not created by us, it is not our mismanagement, it is some previous government who was the responsible one. So these things are bizarre, but the reality is totally different. Reality is scary, and the menaces in the banking sector, they are also rising. Yes Bank was showing a lot of alarms. Now the biggest bank, the SDFC, is under this lending crisis. So these things are really sad and scary. Government has to manage these issues very professionally. Otherwise, we are certainly moving towards a disaster. One day earlier to that Nobel Prize ceremony, Mr. Banerjee said that India is moving towards a disaster. These things are not common. Raghuram Rajan said something like that. Abhijit Banerjee said something like that. And other people, they have also said something like that. Manmohan Singh ji have said something like that. So these things are not normal. And still we are totally focused on religious issue, Ayodhya issue, Babri issue. These are really shameless priorities. Religion, that must go, but that must be a sideline issue. Okay, this is not that much important. It is not going to affect our economy, and it is not going to affect the poorest person's life. We have seen in these people, wherever these priorities are, they are only going to benefit the richest people, political parties, or any other groups. The weakest people, they will not get any relief, because no God will come on the land, and that will hand over a good economy to the country. So it is the matter of our spiritual conscience, and that must be taken like that. This should not capture, and this should not sideline all important issues of economy, all issues of development, all issues of unemployment, and these things are really becoming a huge menace. But we are not discussing those things. This is really unfortunate, and nothing can be a worse management of the issues by a country. So that's why, whether we are Hindus, whether we are Christians, whether we are Muslims, whether we are Sikhs, any religion we may follow, this is all an essential part of our spiritual conscience, and that will stay forever till the time humanity will live. But we have to understand these things, that we have to prioritize issues here. This is the 21st century. We cannot live on the issues of thousands of years of history. We have to prioritize these things, and we have to decide that where we will focus more and where we will put things on lesser priorities. So, because these are alarming numbers, rural market grew at 5% in comparison to urban markets 8% growth, and it's a significant drop from the last year. You see, there used to be 16.2% growth in September 18, and here we are at 7.3%. So it's a significant fall, and in just 1 year. So what problem remained there? And instead of all these supportive issues like the steps which were taken, and all things which were claimed, lesser international crude oil prices, many things were there which were claimed as good support, and certainly some of them were additional supports like the lower crude oil prices, but still we are in this phase. This is really unfortunate, and the world growth is certainly affecting, but how much? That's the question. How much it is affecting? And as we discussed in the 2 days back, the article was there where they said that structural problems and the world growth issues and all, they are only affecting the 25% of the situation. 75% is the mismanagement of the issues, and the prime example is the demonetization. And now it's a situation where there are no micro problems, there are macro problems in our economy: banking sector, unemployment sector, FMCG sector, the markets, investments, FDI, all are under severe stresses. So that's the thing. Next issue, FATF, the G7 groups initiative. The Secretariat of OECD has this headquarter of FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Two important issues: money laundering and terror financing. It was started in 1989 with the money laundering issue, and later in 2001 the terror financing was added there when they found a deep connection between the laundered money and the terror financing there. So that's why it's important. Pakistan is being discussed here. Recently the Asia Pacific Group's report came, and it said that Pakistan's risk rating is medium, and China has taken some steps since February 18, but not much. The UNSCR 1267 that talks about the sanctions regarding the Afghanistan's terror groups, the Taliban, the Osama bin Laden's Al-Qaeda and all these were there. So it was there in 1999, and that is also not being fully implemented. So these troubles are there. So Pakistan is not doing much, and it is gonna be under significant and sustained pressure to deliver on these 27-point action plan by February 2020, when the next annual summit will happen for FATF. So they will assess the 2 year situation from February 18 to 20, and after that they will decide that we put this country into blacklist or we keep it in grey list. Right now it is there in grey list. We put a lot of pressure there diplomatically, and whatever our engagement is with the multilateral organizations. So we said that put Pakistan in blacklist, but that was not possible, and still it is there in grey list, but under important watch, and significant and sustained pressure is there. China, Turkey, Malaysia, they are against blacklisting Pakistan, certainly going against India's move, but still we are saying that it's a good pressure that we could create here. In Pakistan, in this review period, it registered 228 terror financing cases. 58 individuals were convicted. So that's not a great deal if we see the situation. And let's see International Cooperation Review Group what it decides about Pakistan. But hopefully they will put a lot of pressure, but it's not looking like they are gonna put it in blacklist right now. Till February 2020 we have to see the situation there. So this is a kind of a D-Day for Pakistan, but certainly more possibilities of blacklisting this country are there in February 2020. So that's the case. This is going to be important for GS paper 2 mainly, and for the security issues it can be relatable to GS paper 3 also. Next, NASA eyeing inflatable space lodges for moon. You see, inflatable means they are filled with the air, and these kind of temporary lodging can be there on the moon, because there is a typical problem that there is no protective layer. There is no atmosphere which can block these ultraviolet rays or any meteors which are coming, as the protection is there around Earth. There is no magnetic field like Earth who will protect us from extreme radiation of the sun and the cosmic rays, and these meteors are hitting the surface directly. So there are main issues. Okay, so nobody is safe on the open surface of the moon. So that's why these are going to be crucial, and we have to see what they are going to do. But NASA is focusing a lot on moon, and manned mission, or you may say a mission with the humans, because you cannot say no more there are only men. There are only men. There can be women too. So in that sense, mission with humans, it will launched there by 2024, and they are releasing many spacesuits and all for that. Yesterday, a specific spacesuit was launched by NASA. So these things are coming. Next issue, world's fastest ant, Saharan silver ant. It is the fastest one. You see, for a human, the maximum capacity for Usain Bolt, the fastest sprinter in this world from Jamaica, he can run 100 times his body length as quickly in less than a second. But the capacity for this Saharan silver ant is 108 times its own body length per second. So this is really very, very fast, and according to its body's length, this is very small, but 108 times to its own body length, this is something really staggering. So 6-legged sprinter, you may call it sprinter because it is running very fast, and this is fastest of all the world's 12,000 known ant species. Okay, and just 855 millimeters its length is, but it is very, very fast. Okay, so that's the case. It can move a meter per second. That is really fast for this much small ant, and Saharan silver ant. So there may be an important question on that. These two will be important for GS paper 3. Both are related to science section. Now we will come to the article here, important for GS paper 2 mainly. Here the writer Matrish Ghatak, who is a professor in London School of Economics, and he was a partner in research with Abhijit Banerjee, also a Nobel laureate now. So he is saying that the important issue with this year's Nobel Prize in economic area, that is the issue of developmental economics, and specifically the RCTs, randomized controlled trials. These kind of terms are used mainly in the drug trials and all, and two groups are chosen in that process. One is given that drug, one is not given. So one is the control group and one is the treatment group, and after that they observe the situation and they come with some statistics, and that is analyzed, and this is how the drug trials happen. In the same way, with a unique practical approach in economics, which is normally not a convention. Normally they are limited to theoretical and academic achievements only, and these things are available and they are applicable mainly for the macroeconomic measures. But here, especially for the micro measures and this randomized control trials, they are suggesting something new, because this is the empirical direction. They are applicable on real life situations and they are applicable on micro issues, although they may not be applicable for macro issues, but at the micro level these are important, and these models are giving solutions to specific problems there, and these are based on random trials. So that's why the importance of this particular trial issue and the positivities and negativities of it we are going to discuss here. The writer said that RCTs are a kind of a pioneering work now in the developmental economics, and they are working. That's why these are important. Research in economics was still largely theoretical, although the shift in more empirical direction is happening. It's already started, and this is the prime example there. Now, as I explained to you the medical trials issue, the same way these groups are chosen in these random trials and various methods are tried there. But like drugs, there will not be any harmful impact there, and only positive developments they will get there. So the example of Michael Kramer, the third person who is the sharer of this Nobel Prize this year, he was visiting Kenya in 1980s, and he was teaching to school students for 1 year, and he came up with the idea of applying RCTs there in the development context, and that was accidentally, or you may say randomly. He thought that we should prioritize building more classrooms or giving out new textbooks or uniforms, and he suggested that NGOs, they should phase these interventions randomly to study their impact, and that model worked. So this was a kind of a good confidence booster for Michael Kramer, and these things, same things were tried in India by Mr. Banerjee and his wife Ms. DeFellow also. And you see, it is very fortunate, not unfortunate, very fortunate and good thing that Mr. Banerjee was born in India, and India is the prime destination for these kind of trials. There are many problems, extreme level of inequality, many communities are there, many groups are there, and the caste issues and everything is there. So many examples they can get there. Any kind of model can be created in this country. Okay, so that's why their models, they are now a paradigm shift in the developmental policy evaluation, because these are having impact in the policy making, and certainly these things can be tried. You see, there is a big need, that is the quiet leap of imagination, because when these random trials are happening, then you need to imagine there. And these Nobel laureates, they did that with many of the experiments, as many examples we learned there, like the examples were there in Rajasthan regarding the vaccination issue, in Maharashtra and in Baroda, these school issues, and Michael Kramer's Kenya issue. So these are having real life worth, real life application these are, and these things are suggested to policymakers, and some things became very successful, like the Chunauti scheme of Delhi, which was hailed by Mr. Kejriwal, and Mr. Banerjee was thanked by Mr. Kejriwal for that. So that's how they have practical significance. But the key worry is that in normal experimentations and normal trials, the key worry is that the researchers, they may get some faulty data if any additional problem is going on in that particular area. Suppose a caste conflict is going on, and the issues of Dalit is a kind of a very abnormal thing for the researchers, because these are present only in India, and these kind of apartheid issues and these kind of things we normally observe in social media. Also many videos come where the Dalit students are eating separately, and they are not allowed to drink water from the main tank there. So these kind of things are still prevalent in the rural parts of India. So if they are assessing the learning outcomes, and they are trying to bring a model there, then even there are divisions in the kids, they also have certain perspectives, because these things are learned by them at their homes. If they are belonging to dominant caste, if they are belonging to Dalit caste, then there is going to be a huge difference in their thinking also, in their approaches also, and the self-esteem will be very low for the Dalit kids for sure, because they are facing this apartheid and in this small age. So that's why these are unique problems there, so they can affect the research there, and there can be many abnormal outcomes there. So that's why these trials are important. RCT method is important, because there the models are chosen randomly. Okay, and the funding of them is also very important, because if the funding is happening from some company, some large group, or some particular political party, then this may affect the research. So that's why the random trials are important, and that's why they are giving some solution there, because they are not connected, they are not having similar aspects, they are random. So they study the problems at micro level, and the micro level solutions are there. So these are the strength. What is the weakness? Weakness is that it is not applicable mainly for the broad macro level issues. They may be applicable, but that's not a guarantee there, and they cannot tell that any other better alternative is available or not, because they only are focused on their own judgment and on our own process. So they cannot tell much about the long run aspects of development and institutional changes there. They may tell, but it's not a guarantee again. Okay, so as I told you, they can establish what works. They can tell you that it is working, but they cannot tell you there can be any better method also there, or what would be the impact if the same thing is applied in some other environment. So there is no guarantee that these things are going to help, but for a particular situation, these are bringing solutions at micro level. So these are important limitations and positivities there. As the example is there regarding Operation Barga in West Bengal, which was the tenancy reform program, and they developed a model regarding that issue, and they assessed the situation very efficiently. So that was a good example there. So that's why we need to look beyond the evaluation there, and we need to develop models there, and especially for the policy making and the anti-poverty programs in India, which are expecting a lot from these researchers, and they always think that a paradigm shift will be there. But as many scholars say, and even these Nobel laureates say, till the time structural changes will not happen, in our economics, in our rural economics, in our agriculture, in our caste societies and all, till then the issues will not improve for the poor people, because these are mainly weaker groups. And these anti-poverty programs, the income support programs, they are not gonna bring great help there. Some things may be as help, but it is unrealistic to expect anything more than marginal gains. So this is also an important learning there. So a very important article is it, and you should write points based on these RCTs, what is their application, how they can bring important results there in the modern times with the help of technology, with the help of social media, how you can get the help of random trials which are developed by these Nobel laureates. And in typical and specific problems of rural India especially, or you may say in the undeveloped regions of the countryside of this country, how you can apply these things, and what positivities you expect there, what are the limitations there, and what can be the possible hindrances for that. Because these are unfortunate times. We saw even this Nobel laureate person, Mr. Abhijit Banerjee, was trolled like hell on social media. There was a clear campaign because he was associated with the Nyaya scheme of a Congress when they proposed it before the elections, Lok Sabha elections. So that's why we trolled him. But this is so foolish that they never applied their brains, that he was an economist and he was suggesting according to his capacity. It doesn't matter who is taking this advice, but it's an important advice for the poverty issue. So that's why he was giving. But he was trolled like hell, and whatever he said regarding the Indian economy, that was also problematic. But he said all the things based on some facts. We cannot deny that, but still we trolled him. And this is really unfortunate. If somebody is doing a PhD on Indian social media situation and on the Indian people right now, this person is going to be extremely hopeless after these observations, because this country is behaving like the most foolish country ever. You can never imagine in a country like India, which is the source of knowledge for this world, and today we are behaving in such a nonsense manner that we are even trolling the Nobel laureates there. And a person who is a governor of Meghalaya, Tathagat Roy, who is making all nonsensical statements about the Nobel laureate there. So we can compare the knowledge and the importance of a Nobel laureate and a person who is appointed a governor there, who is not elected, who may lack many qualities there, but he is sitting there because he was the choice of the central government there. Central government can appoint any person as governor, only the age necessities are there, otherwise he can be appointed. So this is how this is something which is really concerning in this country, and we do not see any logic, any rational, and the sensical thought process looks like it is dead in this country, because the way we are behaving today and the way we are dealing with the crucial issues, and we are more focused on all nonsense in this country. So this is how the role of social media, the role of the people, the role of the community is there. These are extremely important if you want to apply these models and methods there to improve the situation. Otherwise we cannot expect anything. So the connection between these problems and these solutions given by Nobel laureates, you can have a bridge and you can connect these things, and we can discuss those things, that these are the hindrances, how we can turn them as a help, and how we can raise the confidence of the people so that they can become some positive about these issues and they do not block these measures, because the mood, the positivity and the attitude is extremely important if you want to raise some standards there, if you want to get some help for the poverty issues and developmental issues. So that's important. So there can be an important essay on that, and the context of this topic and the Nobel Prize issue this year. These are important, and these RCTs, these are extremely important examples. Next issue, the secondary monsoon. You see, we have all the observations. We have developed models for the southwest monsoon for India, which is the most important one. But it only covers, or it only contributes 80% of the India's rains. 20% are given by northeast monsoon. You see, in India, we all know the situation here. Southwest monsoon comes like that, but after 15th of October especially, this year it is late, and it happens in the second week of October, but this year it is late, and it is the most delayed withdrawal of the monsoon, southwest monsoon, since 1961. So that's why it's important. But the direction of southwest monsoon is like that, because they are coming from southwest direction. That's why this is called southwest monsoon. Now after October, what is going to happen? This will return, and the normal direction of the winds, that will re-established, and now it will come from northeast direction. So that's why the northeast monsoon is there, and it affects mainly the eastern coast of the Tamil Nadu region, and that brings rains in October, November. And in 2015 it was a major devastation in Chennai floods, and this year again there are alarming situations, because the South India, it has got 50% above normal rains from southwest monsoon, and all these reservoirs and all, they are filled with water. So there can be excessive rains, and there can be issues of urban inundation, because things have not improved much. The management of the urban areas, that has not improved that much in the last 4 years. And if the rains will come like that, and the way devastation was there in Kerala for consecutively 2 years, if the same thing will gonna repeat for Chennai, then there can be real problems. There can be devastation there, because we do not have any assessment models for northeast monsoon. It is very important, and there are no determining parameters existing for northeast monsoons. So that's why it's important. The El Nino issue, which was telling about the southwest monsoon always, and this year also it was the prevailing condition, but later it got disappeared, and the good monsoon rains were there. It talks about the warming of equatorial waters of the central and eastern Pacific Ocean, and it is connected with the failure of southwest monsoon. But there are reports, there are observations that it had an opposite effect for northeast monsoon too. Means when there is a failure of southwest monsoon, then there are more voluminous showers in winter, particularly over South India, with the northeast monsoon. So that's really interesting and important. So this year conditions in the Indian Ocean turned favorable and led to excessive monsoon activity this year, and that's why again in this year in Kerala there were major instances of flooding. In Bihar also a huge disaster was there. In Assam region also huge disaster was there. So excessive rains were there. But now the northeast rotating monsoon is due, and what it is going to bring in the southern part of India, we have to see. But it certainly affect the Coromandel coast there, and India needs to step up research to improve the performance of these models, both for the southwest and especially for the northeast also, because not much research is available for the northeast rains. Okay, so that's the issue, and important for GS paper 3 mainly, important for the science and technology section. But it certainly affects the economy also, because India's economy, the farming sector, is dependent on monsoon and its vagaries. So that's why it's important. So this is all for today. We will meet again tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani, and do come in the evening lesson. We will ask certainly important questions.